So last night, Ford revealed their brand new F-150 Lightning, which is going to be their first electric truck. Not their first electric vehicle because they already had the Mach-E, but this is going to be their first electric truck. And this is a big deal. The main reason that this is a massive deal is the F-150 is the best-selling car here in the United States. As a matter of fact, last year, the F-150 sold 787,000 cars when compared to second place, which was the Silverado, which just tells us how much we in the United States love our trucks. The Silverado sold 594,000 vehicles. Both of those are a lot of numbers, but it just shows how much, almost 200,000 more vehicles were sold by Ford. And then if we look at this year, just so far this year, Ford has sold 270,000 F-150s, but then when you compare that to the next best selling vehicle, which is the RAV4, that has sold 155,000 vehicles, almost double as what Ford has sold so far with just the F-150s. That just tells you how popular and how useful or how much people love their trucks here in the United States. And so with that being said, it just shows how important this vehicle is going to play a role into the general public actually buying onto electric vehicles. But there are four main questions that I had when I was watching the reveal last night, if people who just buy trucks or even regular people will actually want to buy this truck. The first question is range and charging network. What is Ford going to do with those two things? How well is this truck going to do as far as range is concerned? Because one of the biggest anxieties that people have when it comes to electric vehicles is how far can I get away from a charging network? How far can I drive before I need to actually start charging my vehicle again? The second question that I had when I was watching this is, what is the towing capacity going to be for this truck? What is the torque going to be for this truck? Because at the end of the day, it's still a truck, and a lot of people use it for truck things like helping their friends move and for lifting massive cabs and taking it from place to place or towing different items. So it's very important that the towing capacity is not less than what they can find with a gas-powered electric truck. And then finally, the fourth and probably the most important thing is price. How is Ford going to price this F-150 Lightning? Because the other trucks that we've seen so far, when we look at trucks like the Hummer EV or the Rivian or any of those electric trucks, those have cost way a lot of money. And so my question was like, how are they going to place this? Are they going to make it be more expensive than their regular trucks? Or are they going to make it be more competitive in the pricing action for it to actually draw some eyeballs away from the gas-powered vehicles into looking at an electric vehicle? And so I'll answer all those questions in this video as we get into it. So let's get this show started. All right. What's going on, people? It's your boy Kalechi back with another video. If this is your first time around these parts, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy anything that I talk about on this video, hit that like button. Turn that thing, say it with me now, blue. But anyway, in this video, like I said earlier, we're going to be talking about the F-150 and how it compares to things like the Cybertruck, to things like the Hummer EV, and to things like the Rivian. But most importantly, first, we're just going to start off with just the reveal itself. And I'm going to use the Verge article of just some of the things that they spoke on just to touch on the main highlights. And we're going to just start with the specs. It's almost like reviewing a smartphone nowadays. When you look at cars, we have to start with the specs of the car. But anyway, so the F-150 was revealed yesterday, and the biggest news that came out of it was it came in under $40,000. The base model came in under $40,000. It says in the article, the base model with 230 miles, which we'll talk about that in a little bit, of range started at $39,974, while the extended range version starts in the mid 50,000s. That puts it on the right on par price-wise with the Tesla Cybertruck, which we'll talk about comparing the two later on, and far below the more luxury-minded options like Rivian's R1T or General Motors' exorbitant GMC Hummer pickup. And since Ford vehicles are still eligible for the full $7,500 federal tax credit, the price tag can essentially come down even more for early buyers. It's especially stunning though, because all variants of the F-150 are built with Ford's 4-door Super Crew Cab, the gas version of which starts at $36,000. So the F-150 starts out at $28,000, but when you get up to the Crew Cab, it starts at $36,000. So off bat, you're already getting more for your bang for your dollars, which is great when I look at that. So Ford, good job on that front on making this a cost-effective vehicle for most people to actually want to get in on it. The cool thing is Ford, when they released this last night, they decided to do a reservation. They actually did the Tesla play, which Tesla, remember last year when they unveiled the Cybertruck, basically if you gave them $100, you could reserve a Cybertruck for yourself. Tesla ended up having in 2 days, having over 146,000 reservations. That is a lot of reservations in 2 days. And Ford right now has about 20,000 reservations in less than 12 hours at the point of when this article was released, which is slower than the rate that the Tesla Cybertruck was going at. But it's just good news. A lot of people apparently want this truck. But let's talk about the other thing that I mentioned earlier, which is how does this range compare to every other vehicle? When you look at the range of this vehicle, it's 230 miles. 230 miles, that's not a lot. Especially for a truck, that is not a lot of range on there. I actually was hoping that this would be closer to 400 miles. And to see it at about 230 miles, it's kind of defeating because I'm like, that's so sad. That is not what I was expecting when Ford was going to announce this thing. So I'm not very excited with that number because especially, which we'll do this in a minute, when you compare this truck to the Cybertruck is aiming for about 500 miles. And it also has the charging network, which is something that we're going to go into right now, which when you look at the charging network in this article, it says that charging is still a sore spot for most EVs. And it's what sapped some of the fun out of my time with the Mustang Mach-E. The truth is, unless Ford invests in building out its own dedicated network, there's only so much the company can do between now and when the Lightning hits the road to make public charging experience better. In the meantime, Ford Band-Aid solution is that it has consolidated a handful of desperate independent public charging networks into what it calls the Ford Pass charging network. All of these chargers show up in the Ford Pass smartphone app as there's one large network. Basically, the charging situation is still not good. It's still not good. So again, that's a ding. Remember, there were 3 questions that I had. One was the price. The second one was range and charging network. And right now it's like ding ding against Ford. It's good on price, but then range and charging network's not so good. But then when we talk about the towing capacity, which is a good sign, the extended range Lightning is able to tow up to 10,000 pounds, which is more than most affordable gas-powered F-150s. Great sign. It's a few thousand pounds shy of what the F-150 hybrid or diesel version can tow. The standard range F-150 meanwhile maxes out at 7,700 pounds. Again, that is a good sign for doing trucking things. This truck is actually going to be able to do trucking things. So on 2 of the major things, which is 1, on price, it starts out at a great price. Under $40,000 is awesome for a truck. And then 2, then we go to the towing and capacity that it has. Also good because it's able to be comparative, if not better in some situations, than the standard F-150 trucks, than the gas-powered F-150 truck. So that's another good thing. But then finally, when we go to the last part of it, which is the range, not so great. That's the one part of it that is not so great. That's the one part that I was very let down that they were only able to get 230 miles to 300 miles, even when you get the extended battery pack. I am not very happy about that. That is not a good sign for me, especially when they don't have a charging network that's built up. In other words, these trucks, and one of the things you have to realize with Ford is the reason why they sell so many vehicles is it also works with a lot of companies. It works with a lot of enterprises. It's literally the enterprise truck. And so if Ford is not able to provide either a great charging network or able to just give amazing range, a lot of businesses can't use Ford trucks. A lot of companies cannot use these EV trucks just yet. And so it's going to be interesting from here moving into the future. How are they going to continue to develop the charging network? Because that seems to be the limiting factor for every single one of these electric vehicles, except for Tesla's apparently, because they spent years building up their network. And speaking of the Cybertruck, I still find this Cybertruck to be the ugliest thing out there. Literally, this thing is ugly. I don't care what anybody says. This thing is ugly. It is not a good looking truck. It is ugly. But anyway, let's just compare what F-150 is, compare F-150 Lightning to the Cybertruck and a few other things. So if you look on here and just see the different vehicles, you see the payload size, it's not as much as the Cybertruck. Towing capacity, it's about the same range as the Cybertruck. Remember, it's 7,700 for the base model. And then the starting price very comparable to the Cybertruck, which is where Ford is trying to get to, which is the competitive aspect that Ford is trying to get to. When we look at the Rivian and GMC, it's basically like, ignore those, because it's just kind of like they're way too expensive for what you get out of them, and it's not the same. And then also, when are we going to start seeing them hit the road? About the same time for the Cybertruck and the Ford F-150. So at the end of the day, it's literally a race between the F-150 and the Cybertruck. Which one is going to be better? So I'm going to ask you guys this. Put down in the comments, which one do you think is a better truck overall? Do you think that the Ford F-150 Lightning is better? Or do you think that the Cybertruck is better? Because literally right now, these are the only two trucks that really anybody is going to be looking at because of price. So that's basically the whole comparison between the two vehicles. I think there's other things that comes up though. There's some other questions that you have when it comes to this Ford truck. Is it going to appeal to the regular F-150, to the regular truck buyers out there? Or is it going to appeal to people like me who have never bought a truck before? However, seeing this F-150, I'm like, I want a truck. If you listen to me on my podcast called The Rambling Mind Podcast, by the way, go check it out, link in the description. I talked about the fact that if I can buy this F-150, I would buy it, because I've always wanted a truck, but I've never really had a reason to buy a truck. But now, this is the reason. Like, I don't need to spend as much on gas, and this would be great, except I need that range to be better. And maybe in the future, your boy gonna be rolling down in a F-150 truck, because at one point I was like, yo, this Mach-E looks good. Like, the Ford Mach-E look good. So, I mean, I might buy the F-150 truck years down the road, because right now your boy's still rolling in that Honda Accord. And the Honda Accord is taking very good care of me, and I'm not going to probably buy a car for the next 10 years or so, maybe 5 to 10 years. I don't know. And at that point, the next car I'm buying for sure, definitely is going to be an electric vehicle. And so, but anyway, going back to the question, as Michelle Krebs puts it, is there a market for this truck? We think there is, as when we survey people, there is some interest, but how many of those people are there? Are these traditional truck buyers who are willing to go electric, or are these people who maybe haven't purchased a truck before, but are interested in a truck now that electric is an option? That's me. Who are the buyers? We know that EV buyers generally are younger than general car buyers buying public and far more affluent. Among the most affluent of car buyers, who will these EV truck buyers purchase from? A traditional truck maker like Ford with decades of expertise in truck making, or an upstart like Tesla, Rivian, etc.? What will they use their EV trucks for? Our studies show that full-size truck buyers tend to use their trucks for work. Buyers of smaller trucks use them for leisure and recreation. So there's a lot of questions that come out of this, but I'm interested to see where this goes. And you guys let me know. Are you a Cybertruck person, or are you more of a Ford F-150 person? Which one would you, if you had the money to pick either one, which one would you buy today? Put it down in the comments. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all. I hope y'all learned one, maybe two things out of this entire thing, even though I was blabbering all over the place. But I'm gonna catch y'all up on the next one. Remember, generosity is always greater than greed. God bless each and every single one of y'all, and I'm out. Peace.